Jim, thank you very much for your leadership, and your wife is here. She's back in that corner. Thank you very much for what you do. Mayor, you do an outstanding job. When you look around the state of Illinois and you look at young talent, people that are taking on leadership, people that are doing the things, you're a part of the future for the Republican Party. Mayor, congratulations to you. I see Rich and Connie Neiman here. Thank you for all your help and what you've done over the years. And I'll tell you what, your grocery stores are all the way from my hometown of Pontiac and now in Springfield and so forth. I've been a customer of yours for a long time. County Chairman, I appreciate you. Laura Kent Donahue, where are you, my friend? Laura, thank you. I remember your very, very first campaign for the legislature. That was a number of years ago. It was a long time ago, and a whole group of us brought a train over here to be of help to you. And to Randy Freeze, thank you for your help and what you've done to step up. And also my colleagues that are running for governor. This is not easy. And I'll probably be the one of all to tell you how hard it is. In my 22 years in public life, I have never, ever seen anything like this. And I wanted to be here specifically. I want to be here specifically to say thank you to the Mays family, the precinct committeemen, for all that you do. I've watched this thing come down now for the last 3 weeks. And I'm about to tell you, we cannot let the outside influences of millions and millions and millions of dollars buy this race for governor. We cannot let outside groups from out of state come in and run the disparaging ads against these fine individuals. I'm here today to tell you, stand strong. We cannot let the Republican nomination for governor to go to someone who's trying to bring in his outside influences and his outside millions. I appreciate you. I want to thank you. Now, whoever you want to go with in this thing, work hard. Because our goal is to make sure that Pat Quinn retires himself from Springfield and that the hard-working families of Illinois can have an opportunity to once again have a job. Thank you and enjoy the afternoon.
He got my name right. Evelyn Sanguinetti, I'm very pleased to be here today with all you folks. It was a 5-hour drive, but it was well worth it. This area is very picturesque. I've met a lot of wonderful precinct committeemen out here, and that's one of my favorite jobs over at the Milton Township, because I leave the kids at home with my husband, who is a saint, and I catch up with all my neighbors when the snow begins to thaw. That sort of thing is free and very effective. As a precinct committee woman, my neighbors let me in and sit down at their coffee tables and promote candidates that I believe in. So thank you very much for what you do, because it's very important and very difficult. My story is not your typical story, but it's definitely very American. My mother comes from Fidel Castro's Cuba, a place where, as you folks, there is no freedom whatsoever, no free enterprise, nothing. My father is from Guayaquil, Ecuador, and it's one of the poorest countries in the world. Together, for them, the United States presented their last and only hope to a good life. So they immigrate over to Hialeah, Florida. How many of you have ever heard of a small city called Hialeah, Florida? Oh my gosh, and that's an incredibly poor community. So I was born in that community in an apartment building filled with immigrants seeking the American dream. My parents met at that building, and I came shortly thereafter. Mom had me at age 15. I was a child raised by children, but I sit here, or stand here before all of you today to let you folks know that I will forever appreciate that. Mom chose life when it would have been very easy to not choose me. So I'm very appreciative for that. As you know, from the educational standpoint, growing up in these sort of neighborhoods, I failed the first grade. In those sort of neighborhoods, most teachers are disinterested and uninspired, and I gotta tell you folks, I was uninspired too. Hence, I failed the first grade, and opportunity did not open up for me in life until I was given an educational opportunity by virtue of being accepted into a magnet high school. It was there that they taught me how to become a classical concert pianist, and it was with that initial opportunity that I was later able to go to the university on a scholarship. It was with that initial opportunity that I was later able to go to the John Marshall Law School, a law school where I still have the privilege of serving as an adjunct professor of law today. And it was with that initial opportunity that I was able to go and work for Jim Ryan, our former Illinois Attorney General. As his Assistant Attorney General, I represented a lot of government actors in alleged constitutional violation claims. Yes, Grogan, us attorneys say alleged a lot. Alleged constitutional violation claims. I enjoyed my work for the people of the state of Illinois. My husband and I chose Wheaton, Illinois as the place to have and raise our children. How many of you folks have heard of Wheaton, Illinois out in DuPage? Love Wheaton. We're a God-fearing community of about 55,000 residents, and I love serving on their city council where we keep things lean, and we are unlike the state of Illinois. We're a AAA rated city. So I go into governance with that sort of philosophy. Give good roads, good police fire, good sidewalks, and then get out of the way and let businesses do what they need to do. And that's why we're living our golden age in Wheaton. And hopefully Bruce and I could deliver that sort of golden age to the state of Illinois, which is what it so desperately needs. So no doubt, Illinois is a wonderful place to live. But it's not that way for everyone. Not that way indeed. You see, I'm a product of the safety net. Growing up, I had to take food stamps. Growing up, I had to have that free lunch card. I had to be on public aid. But what Bruce and I are here to say is that Illinois could be so much more than just a safety net. What we need to provide our citizens is something in the way of opportunity. Job opportunities and good educational opportunities so that people like me could rise out of that safety net and be all that they could be on their own power. You see, that's the American dream. That's the dream that I lived, and I know that's the dream that most Illinoisans want too. They don't want to hand me down. They want opportunities. So when I met Bruce Rauner, I was most elated. You see, during a time that governor after governor goes to prison, it's only Bruce Rauner who's not a career politician, never even ran for governance in his high school. During a time when many of our decision makers in Springfield are overcome by these powerful special interest groups, it's only Bruce Rauner who could speak truth to that power. And during a time when most of our schools are failing us, it's been Bruce Rauner who has dedicated a good part of his life to education reform, thereby touching the lives of many children that grew up in neighborhoods a lot like the ones I grew up in. So, if Bruce Rauner were here today and he spoke Spanish, you know what he'd tell all of you? Vamos a sacudir a Springfield y traer de vuelta a Illinois. Let's shake up Springfield and let's bring back Illinois, folks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker will be the candidate from the 44th District, the current Senator, Mr. Bill Brady.
Jim, thank you very much. It's great to be back in Quincy and Adams County. There were so many familiar faces and friends. Treasurer Rutherford, of course, dropped all the names, so I'll spare that indulgence. But it is good to see so many familiar faces and be here with you today. I will drop one name. Earlier tonight, someone asked me if I brought my girlfriend. And I said, yeah, I brought my girlfriend and my wife. They said, you brought both? I said, no, they're the same. I'd asked Nancy to stand to be recognized. Nancy and I have been married for 31 years. Nancy and I truly do want to say thank you to all of you for the support you've given us over the last couple of years. We came so close in the last election, and if it weren't places like Adams County, we wouldn't have won 98 of 102 counties in the state and built the base of support that we've built. You're all hard-working people. You're here today because you're committed to a better Illinois, and that's why we're here today. You know, it's not easy to come into Adams County with someone with the last name of Tracy on the ballot, as you might imagine. But let me say something that probably would look unfamiliar to you. I'm going to sing Jill Tracy's praises. Over the last summer, I had the privilege of serving with Jill on a commission, a conference committee for this summer, trying to solve this state's most crippling problem facing us, pension reform. We had over $100 billion in unfunded liabilities in our pension system. Our teachers and our state workers were scared to death that they'd suffer the same demise of Detroit if we didn't do something. Jill and I, along with 8 other members, worked throughout the summer in Springfield and Chicago and came up with some real meaningful reform. And it was her leadership, as well as the other leaders in the committee, that were able to make sure that we moved our state forward, that we took a positive step. Unfortunately, I'm the only candidate for governor who felt that same way. Ladies and gentlemen, Jill Tracy showed the courage and the stamina, and you should be proud that you elected her to the Illinois State House so she could provide that leadership. She deserves your round of applause. And Jim, I must confess, you're not the only one in the room that wishes she was staying as state representative. But you know what? Regardless of the outcome of this election, I know there's a brighter path for Jill Tracy and her dedication to public service. You know, a lot of people have said, Bill, why would you want to run for governor in a state where our governors seem to spend more time in prison than they do in office? And I understand that. I understand that. But I will tell you, there was one story that I want to share with you that was given to me about 2 weeks after the last election that I had to share with my wife to convince her that this was worth it. It was a call I got from Governor Jeb Bush. Jeb called and said, Bill, I don't know if you're going to run again, but I think you really ought to consider it. Frankly, I think you're the only one who can win in Illinois. He said, I'm going to start with a story. He said, if I had not run and lost the first time in Florida, I wouldn't have won the second. He said, Illinois is a Democratic state, 40% Democrat, 30% Republican. It's hard to win. He said, I was up 60,000, I was up 5 points like you and lost by 16,000 votes. You lost by 30. You're the only candidate who has the base of support. You had $5 million of negative ads thrown against you, and in spite of the fact you fell a few thousand votes short, many other Republicans won because of your leadership and the way you proved yourself as a cautious but proven conservative. You're the only one who can build on that. And frankly, that weighed heavily. The support that you all invested and gave to us made me believe that we couldn't just walk away, that we had to finish the job we started. But in addition to that base that we built, you've got to have more than just that. We need a candidate whose judgment we can trust. We need a candidate who will put forward bold, decisive initiatives. That's what I'm about. I want to move Illinois forward. I want to build consumer and business confidence so jobs come back to Illinois. To do so, we've got to take decisive action. Unfortunately, I'm the only candidate for governor who can stand before you and say he will deliver on the tax cuts. The others suggest they'll negotiate with Mike Madigan and others about increasing your taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not only not the Republican way, it's not the way to rebuild this state. Maria Rodriguez and I have outlined a plan to eliminate the personal income tax in Illinois. Why? Well, let's look at other states. Florida and Texas, for instance. Illinois has the highest unemployment, worst deficits, worst unfunded pensions, and highest taxes. Texas and Florida, lowest unemployment, high job growth, balances their budget. What's the common denominator? No personal income tax. If we are going to move our state forward and out of the dark ages, we've got to realize that we've got to change our tax policy, and it starts by putting Illinois on a path to eliminating the personal income tax and stop penalizing families and businesses in this state. We also need workplace reforms. We've got to stop the bickering about minimum wage, and we've got to be consistent and cautious. We need workers' compensation reform. We need job place reforms. I stand before you as a candidate who thinks we need to abolish the Board of Education in Illinois because we need to give parents and teachers the right to do what's best for their students, not some bureaucrat in Springfield or Washington, D.C. And yes, I support term limits to give back power to the people. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a chance to finish the job we started 4 years ago. I'm here today because I think I'm the best, if not only candidate, who can get that job done. It's a tough run for governor, Senator Treasurer Rutherford said earlier. I've been tried and tested. I've had $5 million in negative ads thrown against me. Yes, we lost by a few thousand votes, but we won 90 out of 102 counties. And with your help, we're going to not only win this race, we're going to win 102 of 102 counties. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Bill. And it comes to, last but not least, our fourth candidate for governor from the 24th District, the current Senator, Mr. Kirk Dillard.
Thank you, Chairman. Wow, since I hooked up with that great woman, Jill Tracy, I feel like I live in Adams County. So it's great to be back here, a place I'm not a stranger to. And Mayor, it's great to be with you. But I do want to give one shout out. I know Treasurer Ruther, like Bill said, went through them. Sam McCann, thank you so much for endorsing Joe and I and your steadfast, great leadership for this part of Illinois. Sam, thank you very much. So, what kind of governor is Kirk Dillard going to be? Why don't you judge me by the first decision that I made, picking or asking Jill Tracy to be my running mate. Had a pretty good start. And there's a lot of reasons that I went knocking on Jill's door to ask her to team up with me to turn this state around. Aside from the fact that she's a great mother, she shares my vision of making Illinois what I call a destination economy for people like the Tracys or Rich or Mr. Knapheide, people that employ Illinoisans. This state is overtaxed. We are greatly, greatly overregulated. We nickel and dime farmers and families to death. And it is time we have a top-to-bottom overhaul of our state's tax structure, and we are going to do that. One of the benefits of Illinois has always been to have a low, flat income tax. And among her many titles, Jill is going to be known as the repealer of state government. Jill is going to go around and meet with families and farmers and businesses, small and large, and ask them, what regulations keep you from growing your business in Illinois or expanding your business or moving your business here? But most importantly, what drives you to look at Indiana? And I knew when I chose Jill, because of the Tracy family and Dot Foods, Jill knew what it was like to bring back the competitive advantage in Illinois. And the Tracy family knows that you've got to make Illinois the capital of the Midwest again. We have got to make ourselves competitive against Missouri, against Wisconsin, Indiana, and it drives me crazy that Iowa's unemployment rate is less than half of Illinois. Folks, we're the capital of the Midwest. Nobody has more rail lines, nobody grows more beans or corn, nobody has what we have in terms of infrastructure. We have the finest community colleges in the United States of America, and it is unacceptable for us to be dead last in job creation outlook in 2 national surveys. Another question I get all the time is, what are you going to do about Mike Madigan? Well, I will tell you, I'm the one guy running in this race that has dealt sternly with Mike Madigan and forced him and a Democrat legislature to live within its means. I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old daughter. I look forward, I don't look backwards, but experience does matter. I was Governor Edgar, the last clean and competent governor's chief of staff. We inherited a $1 billion deficit in a recession, and guess what, folks? We left a $1.5 billion surplus in the state treasury, all without an income tax increase. We paid our bills to places like this in 17 days, and very, very importantly, for the first time in the state's history, the state's credit rating actually went up when Governor Edgar was the governor. But the most important statistic from those days is Illinois had an unemployment rate below the national average. So I ask you, why wouldn't you want a state that looks like that again? Wouldn't you want that? I think so. And then, got these great county chairmen down here. Folks, one other little asterisk from that administration is, when I left as the governor's chief of staff, the very next election cycle, a guy named Michael Madigan was no longer the Speaker of the Illinois House. Republican Lee Daniels of Elmhurst was. We didn't need term limits or some mumbo-jumbo to make Mike Madigan the minority leader. We did it through sound policy and an unemployment rate below the national average, and we can do it again. One last question as I travel this great state. Got that question right back here from a table here. What are you going to do about Cook County? Man, Billy announced and said, and he's right, he won most of the counties the last time he ran. What are you going to do about Cook County? Well, I'm the one guy that can stop the tsunami of Cook County from overtaking our ticket. I am, according to the Chicago Sun-Times, if the Republicans ever want to become the majority party again, the guy whose template you got to follow. I'm a suburbanite with very strong downstate roots, married in a little farming community of 400, and picking up Jill as my running mate just gives me deeper downstate roots. Both Governors Edgar and Governors Thompson have said Jill and I are the only ticket that can beat Pat Quinn. Folks, we have got to take back the governor's mansion. This state is on the brink. I will tell you very quickly, Jill and I are on a roll. We were endorsed today by the second largest paper in the state of Illinois, called the Daily Herald. It is suburban Chicago's major paper, and they strongly endorse our candidacy for governor. We're not a regional team. Last night we won the Jackson County Lincoln Day straw poll 6-1. We won Senator Brady's hometown county, McLean County's Lincoln Day straw poll last Saturday, 2-1. And we were just endorsed by the conservative group out of Lake County, Illinois, suburban Chicago, the Republican Assembly of Lake County. Jill and I run strongly everywhere, and I run strong enough in Cook County to make sure that we can beat Pat Quinn. And just to close, let me just say that Western Illinois, Dillard Tracy administration. I'm a proud Leatherneck, a graduate of WIU, its former alumni president. The Peoria Journal-Star, when it strongly endorsed me for governor last time, said, make no mistake about it, Kirk Dillard's a solid fiscal and social conservative, but no one knows more about the Western Illinois region running for governor than Kirk Dillard, and obviously picking Jill Tracy solidifies Brown, Pike, all of these great counties down here. And in a Dillard-Tracy administration, Western Illinois will never again be known as Forgotonia. It will be on the forefront of state government. So thanks for what you do. Thanks for letting me borrow Jill Tracy to make this state work again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kurt. Folks, there's a pretty good bunch to choose from.